Okay, folks, good evening. We're going to do something a little bit different. Actually, a lot different, I think. Hopefully, it'll be a win. And we'll just see how it works out. Might have to give myself some height advantage here for what's coming. But we're working on Eastern Front stuff. And I put a ton of these tanks together, and I've been a little under the weather. I've just got a persistent cough that's back. I feel fine other than I have a persistent cough. So if I'm coughing, well, then you know what it is. So, but this is the T-26 that I was working on, and we just got to weather it, what have you. So this is going to be more of a project for the weekend, but I need to work on something that I've had for a long time. And I've been in analysis paralysis, too worried that I was going to screw up to actually touch it. And let me adjust this a little bit. Might need a little bit more of a distance here. And this is a product that I picked up from a vendor that I saw at Historicon, but I didn't pick it up at Historicon. Let's see if we can get this tilted in the correct direction. There we go. And all right. And this is a company called Paper Terrain, and you'll see a picture of it there. You should have it on the announcement for this of what it is. And this is a Northern Russian Hamlet pack. And I got this, well, here's the intro letter that I got back from Mr. Washburn back on January 25th, 2006. Enclosed you will, dear Tony, enclosed you will find the 20mm Russian Hamlet pack you ordered. I hope the buildings meet your expectations. Thank you much for the order. Well, you can see it's been 17 years, almost 17 years, and I haven't done anything with it. And I think it looks pretty good. I'm just a little concerned about how to glue it together. Now, I did ask at some point the owner what glue he recommended, and he recommended this glue here, which is Bond 527. It is not a water-based glue, and I've used it at some point. I don't remember what the heck I used it for. I think gluing something cardboard-like or something. So I've got, this is not very forgiving at all. This is pretty thick and pretty nasty. There's all kinds of warnings on it. So before I go nuclear and try something that heavy duty, I decided to get some Elmer's Extra Strength glue stick. Now, Extra Strength and Elmer's are two things that don't really go together. But I did test it on a piece of paper here. I just glue these two together to see what kind of a bond they have. And it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, so we're going to move forward with this. This is a lot easier to, it's got no smell, easy to clean up. It's just basically like a, lipstick, so to speak. So anyway, so what is it? They do come off, but, I'm pulling on it. So what is this stuff? Well, they're cardboard buildings. They're pre-printed. And they make different sets. These in particular are for 20mm scale, because that's what I do. And they come as a set of several buildings, but they are all pre-printed cardboard, and some of them have two sides. These in particular happen to be fences that you'll actually fold over. And hold on one second. Okay, so these fold over, and what I wasn't aware of is some of them come with destroyed buildings. So if you read here, I'm not even going to try to read this upside down. Peasant farm villages in northern Russia were characterized by log and plank construction, with roofs of wood or thatch. Although they were typically unpainted, they often had elaborately carved doors and window frames. This includes 4 smaller buildings and 2 barns. There are also 2 different types of fences and some small sheds. A special feature of this kit is that all of the main buildings come with an intact version which fits on top of a ruined version of the same building. Welcome, Anthony. Paper terrain's pretty good. Done several Japanese buildings. You know, it's just analysis paralysis. I've just been afraid to do anything with them for 17 years. Well, I was really afraid to mess with them at all. And then, you know, I got these when I was already doing DBA, and I never got around to doing these. So what have I done 15 years ago or so? Well, I cut this out, which is where we're going to start, I guess. I honestly should start on one of these this barn. It's all on one sheet. Because here's the other destroyed version of this. And you can see this is the good version of this building. It is completely non-detail on the inside. Now, I thought about maybe reinforcing this with something, but I didn't realize that it actually came with a destroyed version. So this version you see here is the inside of this building, which I guess technically you could use it as 2 different buildings, I guess. But this one actually is detailed. So I don't know if I realized that that was the case when I was doing it, but I'm going to start on a fresh sheet. Not that there's anything wrong with this one, but I want to have everything on once. We're going to do this barn, okay? And everything that you need here is here, including the roof and everything. So hopefully I don't screw this up too bad. It's uncharted territory, but I've got patience, so that's okay. And of course, if you know me, there's no way in hell I'm going to cut on my cutting thing. We're going to cut on a piece of cardboard. So, and if you hear me coughing, well, that's the best I can do. I've actually didn't get a chance to hobby last night because I didn't want to put you guys through the coughing. I'm a little better on it now. I think it's allergies, honestly. So, anyhow, so we have a floor here. We have a floor, and we have the building here. So I'm going to try to use the scissors as much as I can. That way I can get a straight cut on it. And hopefully I don't screw this up. And if I do, it's going to be live. I don't care about making mistakes. You've seen me make them. You know, this is not a heavily edited. Well, it's not edited at all. That takes extra work. So we're just going to cut this. And he's always a vendor at Historicon. He's always been there. I've never bought something else from him because there's no point in buying more things if I haven't used what I got originally. So my intention is to find out if these are worth a damn. If I like them. I should say. And if they are, we'll get more. And if they aren't, then we will go down the 3D printed route that there is a plethora of things on. Now we live in an age where there's all kinds of things available now. Okay, this is taking too long. Maybe this isn't the best way to do it. All right, let's generally get the thing out of here. Okay. I do want them. Really? Did you go all the way through that? Or this was a fresh blade. Was. All right. Top's cut. Okay, good. Now we can a more manageable size. All right, now we'll cut across the bottom here. So I figure if this glue isn't worth a damn, it should be easy enough to wipe off and start again. If I screw up with a messy one, and the problem thing is that glue is like a toothpaste thing. You know, once it gets crimped, You know, it's the basically the tube is made out of aluminum. So once it gets crimped, it's just going to start oozing out of there, and it already happened a little bit while I was testing to see if it still was alive. But I don't remember exactly what I had used that for. Okay, this we will throw away. We don't need this in our area of operations. Hey Nordic, how am I doing? I'm all right, I guess. I'm relegated to sleeping in the office, so I don't drive the wife crazy with my coughing. Which is, it's that cough that I had when I got back from before I went to New York. I had it, and I went to the doc in the box, and they couldn't figure out what it was. You know, you go to the doctor and you have symptoms, it's almost like they're disappointed when they find out you don't have some COVID thing. Like, no, it's not COVID. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't feel bad. I just have this cough that just won't go away. So now I think we're going to do, you know, I'm going to make sure this is a fresh one. We don't need these problems. But other than that, and it's the weirdest thing because I don't feel bad. You can see I haven't been coughing while I was here. Generally, if I eat, I don't cough while I eat. And as soon as I stop eating, I start coughing. It's just really weird. You had jury duty summons today. I wound up sleeping like utter crap and sitting over at the courthouse for just under 2 hours. Yeah. You were only there for 2 hours. Lucked out. Jury duty is a colossal waste of time. And I hate going to it because they treat you like you're basically a POS. And I'm like, listen, I didn't want to be here, and I didn't commit the crime. And I'm a citizen, so get off me. But it's really inconvenient for those of us that work for a living and don't have anybody to cover for us. So I don't mind doing it. It just should be on the weekends. Or at least move it along. I think I didn't realize when I got these that the inside was the other part of the building. So I get these and I'm like, oh man, the inside's white. That's going to suck. Not putting two and two together. This one we don't have to be super precise on because it's going to get folded underneath. Well, not that I'm trying to be messy, but I definitely wanted the bottom of it square. The suit got settled 5 minutes before the judge came over to talk to us. Perfect. I think they should settle things by duels. I'd make a terrible attorney. I wouldn't be able to represent somebody that I thought was guilty. But that's me. It's like, sorry, dude, you're going to burn. I'm not helping you. The last time I got called for jury duty, of course, you got to show up there. And then after they were incompetently waste an inordinate amount of time, they said, never mind, we're not going to need you because of bad weather. The defendant couldn't be there. So they're just going to postpone it to another time. And, you know, it was like they were flying in or some nonsense or something like that. So that works for me. I didn't want to be here anyways. Okay? So here's that portion of it. All right. Let's go ahead and do the destroyed one too. Likewise, we will. I think I've gone 4 times. They had a Woody for my name there for a while. Like, why do you need me so much? Like, I don't have anybody to cover me at work. You know, it's like when my plane didn't arrive. Somebody said, "Oh, great, you got a free day off." It doesn't work that way. You know, if the place is in operation, I need to be there, you know. How thick is that paper? You choose swords. Let's rock. Marco, welcome back. Texas. Okay. How thick is this paper? I don't know. Maybe like a 3x5 card. Something like that. So this is going to get folded underneath and glued onto the floor. And this should be smaller so that the outside one can go over it. And all of these buildings are wafer thin. Russian buildings are built wafer thin. Like I said, we're going to try this out. I already have them. If I was going to start on it now, I probably wouldn't buy them because there's so many options now. There's so many options now for the consumer. Which, you know, some things for the consumer are good now. Most things are actually bad. I think the last 5 years, the consumer has really gotten bent in this country with less options. But when it comes to 3D printing and stuff like that, I think that isn't the case. Might even be more longer than 5 years. Okay, and we'll cut this side even, and then the rest of it we'll trim up with scalpel. So if this sucks, or if I hate it, you know. See, now I got other options. Now I got my eye on several buildings by Pegasus and some other 3D printing guys that, you know, we can do all kinds of stuff. Now I'm like, all right, I'll take a risk on screwing this up, possibly. Thought about using 1/2-inch pick insulation, make buildings smaller scale. You were allowed out of jury duty in a federal court because I had to finish a Japanese language class or lose my teaching license. The feds were extremely kind about it. I think it's really interesting. It's just extremely inefficient time-wise. So I only served 1 time. I got called up probably another 4 times. Maybe 5 times. Including this one I was just talking about that it got canceled. Never got to sit in front of something really nasty. Not that I'd want to, but. Had this one guy that I got brought in for questioning. I think the first time that I went jury duty, I got brought up in front of to interviewed, not for questioning, for interviewed as a potential juror. And the attorneys there are asking you questions. And the way it works is, one guy wants, he wants to, instead of like picking all that, it's like the opposite of like a baseball team. Like who gets picked first kind of thing. You want the one side wants the guys that don't look like they're leaning one way and they think they can change their mind. So they basically say, well, if you don't take that guy, I won't take this guy, and that kind of thing. So you're stuck kind of like with the wishy-washy people in the middle, as far as I'm concerned. But anyhow, so I get called in for interviewed in front of the defendant, and that actually was the plaintiff. It was the plaintiff. This is a guy that, and I've probably talked about this before. This was a long time ago. This is probably 30 years ago. Oh, you're not supposed to talk about court cases. Well, I wasn't on it. And I don't remember the guy's name. But just kind of tell you a little bit about my character and what makes me click. If you haven't figured that out already. This guy was suing a pharmacy, like Walgreens. It wasn't Walgreens, because they gave him the wrong prescription for, I forget what it was. They gave him the wrong prescription, and it caused him heart complications, and he had to go to the hospital. Okay, fair enough. They fucked up. Okay, fair enough. They fucked up. And they asked me, I said, would you have a problem giving a fair judgment on this case? Is there anything that would keep you from doing it? And I said, well, I don't think the guy should be set up for life. And he was like, whoa, what do you mean? You know, I wasn't going to be like, okay, yeah, they screwed up, but now this guy gets $100 million and never has to work again in his life. It's just not right, you know, because I'm not one of those people, it's not your money, it doesn't cost you anything. Yes, it does. It costs all of us something, and it sets bad precedent, you know. And I literally told him, I said, you know, I'm not gonna judge in his favor if that's what you guys are trying to get out of it, you know. I mean, obviously they're trying to get a lot of money, otherwise the attorneys wouldn't take it. I said, that's not how I roll. And I literally say that, you know, I mean, the guy should get his medical bills taken care of. Obviously, he missed work. Maybe a year's worth of salary, but not more than that. I mean, he doesn't have any, like, long-term things. He just had, like, you know, he didn't even have a heart attack or anything. No further questions. I didn't get picked. Yeah, I probably should have kept my mouth shut. But, you know, I'm not going to get put in a situation where I'm like, well, I'll go ahead and make a judgment in his favor just so I can get back to work, you know? Just about to play some Zapotec or Hamlet. History is so much fun, and middle school kids are fascinating. I have the best job in the world. Wow. I'm glad you think so. I hate middle school kids. I hated middle school as a kid. See, at elementary, they're kids. High schoolers, they got like some responsibility, right? Like they got jobs, and the responsibility is like empowerment. It's good to be responsible. It's good to, like, you know, work and buy your own stuff and do stuff like that. And it feels good to do your own thing. But middle schoolers are like little punk asses. And that, I'm talking about in the early 80s, so I can only imagine how bad it is now. I'm glad you enjoy it, but you couldn't pay me to do that. It'd be like working at a prison for me. It'd be like working in a prison and you can't hit them with a billy club, you know? And, you know, the thing with kids is, the thing with learning history in school is, I love history. But, you know, I read things to learn stuff. I don't read things that I enjoy just to pass a test. So, like, all that I've learned about history, I've pretty much learned on my own. I mean, sure, there have been little stumbling blocks that kind of help you along the way, but You know, you don't learn shit in history. You know, you learn how to write papers. Yippee, I hate writing papers. But I'm great with dates and maps, you know? And if you're really good at history, you're not good at every single thing, but it's just fill in the blanks. So, like, let's say you're like a World War II guy, like I was, right? And then you just got to learn, okay, what happened before, what happened afterwards, and the stuff that you know, you can kind of fill in the blanks and that kind of stuff, and maybe have a good idea of what's going on in a certain part of the world while Napoleon is going around Europe and stuff like that. So I used history as all my electives in college, you know. Note to self: don't get sent to prison where Tony is a guard. Yeah, I wouldn't. You know, if you're in prison, if you work at the prison or you're in prison, you're still in prison. That's got to be a miserable place. Video games. I play video games, right? I'm the generation that we kind of always play video games. Now they might have been Atari 2600 or whatever the heck they were, but so when you could start communicating with people on like Xbox Live in my case or so forth, I thought that was pretty cool. Until I discovered that there are adults that use mature rated games as a babysitter for 7 and 8 year olds. So I don't want to listen to, somebody that's 4 foot tall with a 6 foot mouth. So I just ignore everybody. I rarely get on there now. Rarely, very rarely. But if I do, I don't even turn a microphone on. So I don't want to listen to those rugrats whose parents let them do whatever the hell they want, Eccentricities are a feature. They always make me laugh. You have any that identify as a tree? Hasn't Skyrim been out a long time? I played one of them. It's probably the first one, the Elder Scrolls, and I hated it. It was just boring. I didn't want to talk to these. I didn't want to go around and talk to people that didn't look very exciting, My kind of fantasy game is like Diablo. I'm a Diablo fan. So, we've done a lot of time with that. The other thing that doesn't get taught well in schools is civics. No wonder we're in the mess that we're in. Of course, what we learned in civics probably isn't how things really work anyways. It's probably how they should work. What are your storage plans for this terrain? I'm going to put them right here in the middle of the room floor. I don't know. I got to build one first. They're probably going to go in my. They're probably going to go in my cabinet. It's likely that if I ever play this, it won't be at anybody's house other than here. So I'm not going to do all this work and then torture myself by having to cart it somewhere. I'm done running games at shows. I'm not going to run games at shows anymore. When a hobby starts being too much of a pain in the ass, you just don't want to do it anymore. And it was getting to be that way. So I'm like, nope, I'm going to turn it into what I want it to be. We got a show coming up in April, right? I'm not running a damn thing. I'm not playing in any tournaments. And I'm just going to go hang out. I'm going to be worthless, just like everybody else has been all these years. Bend over, Rick. I'll show you. Yeah, what are your plans exactly? Where are you going to put that tree, Clark? Bend over and I'll show you. Yeah, that's a classic. So I came across an interesting thing on Reddit today, and I'm not a Redditor. I've only discovered it maybe a month ago, and it's mainly just for like hobby stuff. But I get things suggested to me, and this happened to be one that I thought was kind of interesting. And since we like talking about movies here, this one comment was, or this one question was, what is a movie that you wish you could have gone blind into? And I recognized a few of the movies. One guy said Memento, which I think is, well, I went blind into it. I didn't know what it was about. Another one somebody suggested was The Usual Suspects, which I did go blind into. And I'm not going to give anything away, but let's just say the mastermind of that one ended up being the next movie that we watched. That actor ended up being the mastermind of that one as well. And we watched him back to back, and it was really creepy. It's like, we got to go after that guy. That guy's bad news. So U.S. history, 25 years, 10 years, medieval Europe, Middle East, Africa, Dark Ages. Magic Mike 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. No, I don't mean actually being blind. I mean like going blind, like not knowing it, what it was about. Somebody recommended a movie I'd never heard of called Moon. I'm like, all right, well, don't tell me about it. Maybe I'll think about watching it. Right now, I'm on a tear watching all the Resident Evil movies. Yeah, I know, they're stupid. But there's a virtual game based on that, and maybe I'll be tempted to play that, if that's the case. Although, I have a feeling that's going to be one where I could potentially fail a few morale checks. The movie 7, yep. Yep. That is the movie that I saw back to back. I saw Usual Suspects, and then we saw 7. And Kevin fucking Spacey, man, I'm telling you. Yeah. Memento's a great movie. I wish there was more movies like that. It's just great from the standpoint, like, man, they went out of their way to really put this thing together, because that was a pain to put all the pieces. Man, I wish these logs wouldn't splinter like this. They're a pain to cut. Then, of course, we're going to paint the ends with a... Actually, some people say use a Sharpie. What actually works better is actually use a paintbrush with really thin down black paint. It works a lot better. And it's easier to control because you can control the line on a paintbrush. You can on a Sharpie. The line on the Sharpie is whatever the hell the line on a Sharpie is. The one I love is Eyes Wide Shut. I saw that. I saw that, and I was expecting... It was kind of like when I saw 2001 for the first time. I didn't see 2001 Space Odyssey until I was in my 20s, right? And it's not really a movie I care for. But there's that one scene at the end where the alien is sitting at the table chewing. And I'm just waiting for, something to happen. And it never did. And I was waiting for the same thing to happen on Eyes Wide Shut, and it never did. And it just ended up being like a waste. Those movies where you're just expecting something to just come out and greet you. The Alice in Borderland series. Does that have to do with a video game? On Netflix might be of interest if you're enjoying the Resident Evil. I'm not sure that I'm enjoying them. I'd enjoy them more if I had a thing for that. Whatever that Serbian girl is, which I don't. But the first one's not bad. I had only seen the first one. And then I'm like, man, maybe I want to play this Resident Evil game. Well, let me get some background information. So it'd been so long, I'm like, well, I guess I got to watch the movie again. And they were all on Netflix except one. So I had to find another method of watching that Extinction one, which I just finished at lunchtime. But, you know, I like that they had the zombie dogs. That was cool. Barry Lyndon is a wonderful film by Kubrick. Noroi. Is it filmed in Kubrick fashion? Because he's really annoying with, you know, putting things moving out the side of the out on the edge. Let's see, hold on a second. Much information. I need one. Get new shelves. Find room for new shelves at period of time after Christmas. Oh, it's your house. You can do whatever the hell you want. You can just knock out a wall. Although, when you did that tour, the one thing I didn't like about it is that sliding glass door, man. I've got no confidence in sliding glass door. What happens? You guys get a ton of snow. What happens when the snow is backed up that sliding glass door? Is it a chance that it could come through? I lived in a condo that had a sliding glass door at the bottom, and I'm not a fan of those things. But you don't truly have a basement. You kind of have one because, you know, you can like escape from it, you know. So that's kind of it's not like you're stuck down there. That's actually, I think, a better system than a real basement. Valhalla Rising. I still haven't gotten around to seeing The Duelist. But some things don't age really well. And I'm not saying that either one of those doesn't, but I tried watching Last of the Mohicans with my daughter, and it did not age well. I mean, it almost felt like it was, you know, I mean, I remember when that movie came out. I mean, it's not that old, but man, it looks like it was filmed almost in like 1981 or something. It looks really dated. I used to know a guy that was actually in that, or he claimed it was him. He says, "Yeah, I'm one of the guys that Magua takes out with a hatchet." I'm like, "See, that's me right there." I'm like, "Okay, if you say so." I don't know. Just look like a. You have a sliding glass door, and you're in northern Michigan. The other night, that Frosty Snowman is based on Icelandic saga. Really? Oh, I like the movie. I just don't think it. I don't think it's aged well. You know, it just looked very, 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 very dated. And a lot of it is subtle things that we don't notice. You know, if you look at old movies, one thing that's apparent is there's a lot more scenes that are shot with everyone on the screen at the same time instead of going back and forth between people. You know, you look at movies from the 30s and the 40s, it just didn't happen. Everybody was on the screen for the, almost the whole time. And there was a whole lot of that going on at the beginning of the movie, and I found it kind of distracting. Now, I've seen it a couple times. It has been a long time. It's definitely not a very happy movie at all. One of my favorite lines of all movies is in it. You know, when the lieutenant, we'll call him the lieutenant, comes over there and it's like, oh, we're here to make the world, we're making the world England. Or something. I forget exactly the same thing, but I got a good chuckle off of when that happened. There's that cough. At least it's productive. At least it's a productive cough. All right, so what we're going to have to do with this thing is, after we fold this, we're going to bend these back and it'll glue underneath it. So when you're looking at the top, you see the dirt floor. Okay? And I'm guessing I have to cut this entire thing out along the periphery of it. It's just something different. I haven't messed with this in 17, 18 years since I've had this. Surprised the paper's not more yellow. And I think this is a job for this. I'm just going to cut it to the edge of the color. And hopefully that's where it needs to be. Because it is kind of uneven. This goes over the edges. I had a little cardboard building that I don't know what the hell happened to it. I'd gone to a craft store and I found something that was like the perfect size, this little box. It was perfect size for like one of these a village building in Russia. I'm like, all right, how am I going to do the thatch roof? And I ended up getting some spackle. And, the problem with spackle is it's got, once it dries, it gets crumbly. And that didn't work really well. It was the days before the internet. We couldn't communicate with each other. Hey, what good ideas did you have about that? There's no sharing of information back then. We all had to learn our lumps all by ourselves. Okay. Now, see if I've got a ruler that's small enough. I do. I just don't know if I can find it. Because that way you got something to fold it up against. This one should be long enough. Let's see here. Mohicans always makes me cry in a good way. Gunpowder made during the 7 Years' War fired it to the... Well, how long was that difference? 20 years? Thought our policy was to make the world England. There you go. He's a major, huh? All right, let's see if I can fuck this up. Well, let's do this one first. Well, that seemed to work pretty well. Yeah, the ends of these get bent. Because this comes up over the edges. Okay, we'll do the same thing on the other side. Yeah, it's really annoying to have these cough back. I've actually never been as diligent as I was taking all the meds they prescribed for me last time. I mean, one of them was like, I was taking it while I was in New York. I mean, I ended up taking it for like 10 days or something like that. Take one every other. I'm like, I don't want this cough to come back. And it comes back. I'm like, what the hell? So I'm not sure what the hell the deal is, but it's awfully annoying. And it's a lot better today than it was yesterday. It's actually manageable today. Yesterday was bad, so. But I ended up I wasn't able to go to my regular practitioner when I needed it because it was on the weekend. And I'm like, man, I got to stop this cough. I'm getting ready to go on vacation and I can't have this continue happening. And, but this time it's like midweek. I'm like, I've got to. So I kind of let them know everything that was going on. And they're like, you sure you don't have this? You sure you don't have any other thing? I'm like, I'm telling you, lady, I don't have any of that stuff. They're like disappointed to find out that you don't have COVID. Like, no, I've never gotten it. Or if I did, it was something that wasn't even remotely like it. But ever since this whole COVID thing, I've been healthier than I've ever been because I think a lot of people are just washing their damn hands that never washed their damn hands before. I hope the rest of this build goes this way because this is pretty damn forgiving. So this is what this damn thatch roof looks like. And it's going to go on top of the building. And honestly, it looks pretty decent. Well, I don't have my glasses on. Let's see. Does it look pretty decent? Yeah, it looks pretty decent. You know? Has anyone played Art de la Guerre Ancients? Nope. It's really popular at Historicon. It's what everybody's playing now. We'll see if they're playing it in however many years. Most people are nomadic, though. They'll play something for a while. I mean, Field of Glory, when it came out, people were playing it like crazy at Historicon. And then like 2 years later, nobody's playing it. I don't know whether, did everybody just agree that just didn't want to play? I don't know what it is, you know. I know I don't want to play any more games that are vague and abstract. I'm done. I'm done playing those abstract games. You'd go with some teddy bear fur. Sure. Well, we have that. We have access to that now. Nobody knew what the hell that was in the 1990. You know, I'm telling you, the internet makes us all, well, makes us all dumber. And it also makes you, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. It makes us all dumber if you're watching, what are those things called? Reels. And then if you tell them, I'm not interested in this, and they still bring you this more of the same crap. I don't care anything about that basketball person that got captured in Russia, but say Soviet Union. Yeah, same thing. Or, Prince Harry. I don't give a shit about none of that stuff. Stop sending me that garbage. You're bothering me, boy. You're bothering me. Now, I don't know how well this is going to work with this Elmer's glue. But like I said, if it doesn't work, I should be able to wipe that stuff off pretty easy. I don't want to go nuclear and use this super strength stuff right off the bat and then run into a problem. When I want to remove it, it didn't work out. It's one of those glues that's not even water wash up. You know, you got a mess on your hands. You done with DBA? I'm not planning on playing it again. No. I'm working on my own stuff on the side, but my heart's just not there, you know. Mitch need DBA for his Han Army. I have Chinese gate I printed up that I was going to put on the bazaar for Fanaticus. I don't know. It's been hard to get together, you know. I've been kind of annoyed because I want to go over there while the weather's nice, and the weather's been nice, and he's been hard to kind of pinpoint. But I'm done playing rules. It's like, well, this doesn't make any sense, but that's how we're going to have to play it. Nope, I'm not doing that anymore. So these World War II rules that I'm playing, they're out of print. Perfect. Because if we play them and something doesn't make sense, we're not going to play them that way anymore. I mean, you know, we're experienced war gamers. It's not like, you know, well, we're going to make it this way to make my guys a lot more powerful. That's a bullshit that we don't practice. Oh, this is odd. Oh, this is like, oh, this is really weird. Okay. Okay, I guess it's like that. Strange. Presto Strangio. Okay, so this is going to go like this. The floor. Well, it might actually have to fit on top of the floor, which would be weird, but if that's what it's scaled to do. We're going to test fit all this stuff before we go and get it. I'm just tired of like, well, I want to work on these tanks, but I got to get this army done for the show. And then you go to the show and nobody shows up to play it. I'm like, I'm holding myself hostage. Just, I'm done with it, you know. No intention of buying. Another war game rule set. Okay. So, I don't have anything bad to say really about DBA. Just, I've done my time. I want my freedom back. Okay, so this is the inside. I don't know what we're going to make of this just yet. Okay, that's supposed to be the floor. Let's do the same thing with this. That seemed to work pretty well. So if I really don't like how this turns out, which I don't think is going to be the case, but if it does, then we're just going to go all 3D printed stuff. I don't need that many buildings. What am I doing with a metal ruler that model builders do with photo etch pieces that need bending? What you are doing with a metal ruler is what model builders do. Oh, I didn't know that. It just seemed like the thing to do. You know, I've never done this before, but I got a clue. It's just like when I painted some the background information, the background paintings that I did for my miniatures. I'd never painted a background before, ever. But I got a clue. I mean, I've been painting for 35 freaking years. So Again, that was another one of those analysis paralysis. Well, what if I screw this up? You just got to do it. You just got to do it and paint your way out. You know, if I screw this up, I'm sure I'll be able to fix it, you know. If you're afraid to do this stuff, then you're never going to do anything with it. And then why did you even buy it in the first place? So, yeah, I did my first photo etch on those Panzer IIs. I loved it. I loved the photo etch stuff. I thought it was amazing. The only thing I did not like, the only thing I wasn't a fan of photo etches, you have to use like super glue, and I'm done with super glue. That was back in the early '90s when they came up with Zap-A-Gap. Remember Zap-A-Gap? You know, thicker super glue. I thought that was the bomb, but it's just so damn brittle. It has no tensile strength at all. And other than that, it's a pleasure to go in there and cut it with a fresh X-Acto knife and go in there and trim the little things. You know, I'm doing it without my contacts in, so I'm enjoying the whole process. They gave you like the brass barrel for the 20mm auto cannon. This is really, really nice. So that was my only experience with photo etch ever. Because when I was doing 1/35th scale models, I didn't get photo etch anything. I'm not one to like, let me replace something that it already has with something with photo etch. Like if it doesn't have it and I'm going to replace it, that's different. But I'm like, okay, I want to take these perfectly good handles that maybe are thicker they're supposed to do, and I'll carve them off and I'll add photo etch stuff to it. That's just not me, you know. Especially not for wargaming miniatures, you know, because you're going to find something that's out of scale. Even the best model of fill in the blank, whatever you want, a Sherman, a Panzer IV, whatever, it's got problems. You know, there's going to be something that's off on it that they're going to tell you, yeah, you know, this has got the wrong cleats on the tracks or something like that. I don't fret about all that stuff too much. Life's too short. Just do the best you can, and that's that. Okay, now, so what's the footprint of this thing? Is this match this? Well, it's closer. How truly strange. Well, maybe I just have to glue this one and it just sits inside of it a little bit. Because I thought for sure it would go underneath it, so it would be like this, but that would have to be really precise. So we glue it like this, set it on top of it, slide that over it, and on top of this goes this little thatchy thing. All right. Cast iron texture on tanks. Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, no thanks. Nah, the 234s I have are rough enough. They're plenty rough. Lots of rough. So I got these Czech 38s, right? I'm never going to call them Panzer 38s. I just can't. I've always called them Czech 38s. All right? And I made all three of them different to a little degree. And then I noticed they make, this one got the hatch open, they make a detail set that includes extra road wheels for, you know, that you could like put on the back and stuff like you see in pictures. I'm like, that would be awesome. I could make it even more different. The set that is just the tank commanders and extra, I think it comes with like one road wheel for extra for a Panther, a Czech 38, a Panzer II, some extra track links, and of course some tank commanders. Like $35 freaking for that. And you get 3 of them or whatever, but I'm like, that's just way too expensive for spare parts. So I'm just going to roll with what I have, you know. Okay. All right, here's my first chance to screw this up. And this glue may not work. This glue may not be the way forward. We're going to find out. It's going to be easy enough to clean up if it isn't. This is like trying to butter the arsehole of a mountain lion. What? Just put it on both sides. If it's difficult, put it on both sides. I don't want to use regular Elmer's because it's just too wet. This at least is freaking dry. And we're just going to leave this thing alone and see how this behaves all by its lonesome. It doesn't have to hold really, really hard. We're going to be careful with it. Or I'm going to be careful with it, or I'm going to attempt to be careful with it. I'm going to leave this thing alone. Okay? Then likewise, we're going to do the same thing here. Never kink shame people, but I am close to doing that with a mountain lion thing. That's right. I think it's more than kink shame if it's different species, but that just reminded me of a saying that I heard. They have these country sayings or sayings from the South. One of my favorite ones is, it's raining like a cow pissing on a flat rock, those type of things. And there's one I heard one time that's like, you'd sooner stick a noodle up a wildcat's ass than mess with me. I can't make this stuff up. Well, it held itself in place. So it's not that bad. So I can just see, I think we can just play around with it. I think it's stuck enough. So we leave this here. We leave the little slab there, right? We put this thing on top of it. Obviously, we'll smush this down a little bit more. We'll put this on the outside, right? Make sure the doors match up. That's the opening. That's the opening for that one. Should slide over it. It better. Okay. And then we'll put the roofage over it. I mean, I want this glue to work. It's certainly easy to work with. Forgiving. Need to bend this a little bit more. And of course, we got to shoot this at a different angle so you can see it better. I don't think it's bad. I already have him. I don't think it's bad. Let's put a Panzer III. It's about the size, a house the size of a Panzer III. A barn. Ain't bad. I have them. Why not? I have them. Okay. And if I can get away with using this glue is definitely user-friendly. I don't want to use that one that's, made from who knows what. Okay. You can stack them on tanks and not damage the tanks. Next! All right. This is a square building by the looks of it. Okay, we're going to do this one next. There's some beautiful 3D printed stuff out there. What's cool is I already have it. You know, I probably wouldn't have gone this route, but you know, when I bought these in 2005, what do you got to do? Make it out of yourself out of matchsticks? That's time I could be. That's time I could be doing something else. Well, they got a little shed here. The shed roof, as Mitch would say, roof. Go wash the roof by the creek. All right. Well, this is something different. Well, my cough has gotten a hell of a lot better. Because what is happening is I was coughing like, when it first started, it was like once an hour. Then it was like once every 5 minutes. Then it went to like every 30 seconds I'm coughing. Like, that's just too much. I'm literally going to go crazy, you know. And I know I'm driving everybody else crazy too, you know. Which I don't mind doing as long as I'm having fun doing it, not torturing myself in the process. Okay. Oh, this has a stone subfloor there. Looks like. All right. Let's not forget the chimney. Let's get the chimney out of the thing here. Okay. And let's just cut these in half. So we're not fooling with the whole thing at once. Okay, this one we're going to cut out with an X-Acto knife. That side. This one we're going to go all the way across. They actually have some pretty affordable buildings out there. There's one particular company that has some really nice stuff, but their shipping is cost prohibitive. I just saw on the news somebody that came in that there was some system in the UK got hacked, and they're not going to be able to export. They're not going to be able to export orders across the seas until they get it sorted out. Well, I hope that doesn't delay something else, because there's something I bought relatively recent that I wasn't very happy with it. And I contacted them and they said they would make it right, and then they forgot about me. So, okay, we'll get it in the mail as soon as we can. And it's been a week, so hopefully they made it out before that shutdown happened. So we'll see. That's why I don't want to be sponsored by somebody. Like if I buy something and it's a POS, well, I don't want to make a video saying, hey, these guys suck, but you know. I will tell you, don't order from the company that I've had no response from the folks that I ordered those models from. These that came in, I rebought them. I rebought them from 4 different people. 2 of them on Amazon and 2 of them on eBay. Like, nobody had all the stuff. But the particular company that I had to run in with, or, you know, run in means they actually would have responded, but 0 response. Since December 12th, I've sent them multiple emails and nothing's come through. You know, I find out that, oh yeah, they run under, like, they're out of Pennsylvania and they run like 4 other outfits, and you're not going to get your stuff. And like, great, I wish I would have known that before I ordered it. But the name of the company you shouldn't do business with is called Military Model Depot. I don't know if they're up to anything nefarious, because they're just not responding to my emails. I mean, maybe the owner's dead. I have no idea. But literally, it's like that. That could be a possibility. Or they're out of they're out of business. I mean, that's going to happen to somebody. Some guy, if you're an older guy and you're in business, the reality is you're probably going to pass away one day, and nobody's going to know you're dead. And people are going to, if you have a website, people are going to keep ordering stuff and think you just pocketed the money when in fact, you're not around. I don't know what the reasoning is. I just find it very hard that a company would alienate, all this stuff is really niche things. You can't really alienate somebody right off the bat, because they thrive on repeat business. It's not like you could just piss people off as Best Buy, because, other people are just going to come in the door anyways. I mean, how many people are buying model stuff, Anyhow. So we had to put a stop payment on that. Still haven't heard back from them. And I've actually never had that experience ever. And some vendor like not communicating, not sending you the stuff. Just communicate. Just send an email back. And they have a legitimate looking website. If you go on Military Model Depot, it's a great looking website. It says that they have stuff in stock, but who knows when the hell that was. Might have been 5 years ago. The complaints I saw online were from like a couple of years ago, so maybe it's been going on for a while. Maybe something happened to the owner and they don't know how to turn and the rest of the family doesn't know how to turn the website off. That would happen to me. I wouldn't know how to do that. Best Buy sucks, waste of money. I never go there. Used to. I don't go to stores anymore. These glue sticks, right? I ordered glue sticks, right? I Amazoned them, because by the time I find a place that had extra glue strength, I would end up going to 4 different places and ended up paying, it was like $5 for 4 of them. I'm just like, I'm going to buy these, and I'd rather give them to an actual brick and mortar place, but, fuel and times is something too, Yeah, you agree. It doesn't. That website looks legitimate, right? And they have good prices on things, and they said in stock, and I'm like, okay, what could go wrong? I still don't think they did it for nefarious reasons. Like I said, it just doesn't make any sense that you would alienate the few customers that you have. It's different if you do something like, if you do some kind of dickery to somebody, and they were like an asshole first. Like they wanted like free models, and you're like, no, man, you got to pay the whatever on them. It's different, but just like right off the bat to be like, well, we're not even going to respond to your email. That's just, it sounds like somebody's dead, honestly, or something along those lines. Maybe I'm wrong, but anyhow, I ended up basically getting everything that I had ordered from them through other sources. I had ordered the Pegasus kit that came with the KV1 and the KV2, which apparently is not available anymore. I couldn't get that one from the vendor, so I ended up getting the T26s instead. But these scissors are going to be shot by the time that I'm done with this, but they're cheap ass scissors. They'll be okay. Yeah, their website looks legitimate. But I gotta tell people don't buy something from them because, it's a hassle. I had to call the wife in. I don't know how to do this stuff. She's good at some of that other customer service type thing. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, so. Got to peel something off the print bed. Yeah, I'd like to get into 3D printing, but man, I just don't have the personality for it to go wrong in the middle of it. Like have these ideas of what I'm going to do with something. Like I start something printing and then I get home and it didn't print at all. And I thought I was going to paint it that night and I can't do it now. I don't do well with having the rug pulled out from under me. That's stuff that'll set me off. Hey, I can't be good at everything. I think there's a saying that goes something like that. Wise man once say, this is going pretty well. Uncharted territory. I'm hoping to get them all done tonight. We'll see. I probably won't be able to do the fences. But let's at least get the buildings done. I could not have painted last night. I'm almost not even coughing. I did take the second dosage of Zyrtec, so it's probably some kind of an allergy I have that I didn't have until I was 51 and a half years old. But if it can be solved by just a little pill, then we're good. Everybody's got something. But I can tell you one thing that's really annoying is if you have something that's not life-threatening, but it's visible on you. Like in my case, it's my skin. I don't have it really bad, but people come up, hey, what's wrong with your skin? You don't do that. Like if I see somebody that's been like in a fire or something on their face, I don't go, hey, what the fuck happened to your face? Because they have to relive it. And then you have to explain shit, and, you don't do things like that. So for those of us that have something that's visible, it's really annoying when you get questioned about it, Everybody has something, somebody's like, there's nothing wrong with them. They might have bad blood or something like that. They got got problems with their blood or something, Everybody has something. And hopefully it's not something that's life-threatening. But when you have something that's visible, it's really annoying to, be questioned about it all the time. Explain shit to people. I don't have to explain anything to you. The Germans lost the war. This almost looks like a little ghost house. Everybody's got something. And you said somebody, it's like, man, that guy's, peanut allergy or, shits themselves if they have a drop of milk, or All right. This is going really well, and I've gotten better. I don't know, I've coughed more than 5 times since I turned this thing on. That's what I need to do. I should have been doing this online yesterday. Have you guys hang out with me, and I'd be feeling better. Imagine if America and Europe joined the Germans in World War II. Nah. I've tried watching that. What's that thing called? The Man in the High Castle? This seems way too hokey. If they had done it like in 1950, but they went and did it like in 62. Like, it's just too far removed from the... I've tried watching it twice and can't get into it. No, you don't want the Third Reich winning a war. That's very bad for everyone. That's very, very bad. You watched the whole series. Did you like it? Well, obviously you liked it, or you wouldn't watch the whole series. Just couldn't get into it. But then I'm not a big fan of just watching stuff, It's already been decided. You just haven't seen it yet. And it's got really good ratings. I mean, a lot of people like it. I didn't not like it. I just couldn't get into it. We had a corny thing in the 80s that they made, late 80s, called America with a K. It was like the Soviets came in and took over the... I don't know, I didn't watch it. And it was a miniseries. It was like on ABC or something like that. Kind of reminded me of that, so to speak. Oh, I'm sure that the High Castle thing's better. It's not very believable that the Japanese could take over half the world, Just not enough of them, and it's kind of a different mentality for that. Patton said we fought the side and then was murdered. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Patton. Other than all I can say for Patton is that's the last time we were winning wars, when he was around. Just saying. Or so-called winning them. There's a lot more. There's a bunch of losers in a war. We like to play them, but... Yeah, I read that, was it Killing Patton? The book Killing Patton? And I was disappointed that I didn't learn anything really juicy or anything. I'd probably give it a shot. The problem is I can't do this and have the TV on, even though I have a big TV right there. Well, big TV's relative. I got a TV in the same room. You know, but if I have it on, I'll be like, I wouldn't get anything done here. If the TV's on, I'm watching it. I can't have it for background noise. I envy those of you that can. That's just not something I'm trained to do. I also tend to watch things that are pretty complicated, so you kind of have to pay attention. And my hearing isn't the best, so I got to use subtitles for everything. We were watching a movie the other day with the girls, and didn't have subtitles available for it, and I was missing like half the movie. Couldn't follow it. And it wasn't a complicated movie. They just had a bunch of kids in it or whatever, and the kids weren't open, and they were like talking all mush mouth. And once you get used to looking at subtitles, man, you just do it, you know. I don't even know how you do it. It just happens. One series I did like and watch all the way through was Black Mirror. I like Black Mirror. They made you think. Not every episode was great. Most of them were pretty good, though. Made you think about stuff. So it was interactive in that respect. Trying to figure shit out. And time commitment's low. You have a resolution in anywhere between 20 minutes and an hour, for the most part. But there's just so much stuff to watch now. It's just human nature. When something starts being, less than awesome, I personally just, you only seen 2 episodes of Black Mirror. Okay, well, you gave me a recommendation on something, so I'm going to give you a recommendation. Go to season 3 on Black Mirror. There's an episode called White Bear. It's like 40 minutes long. Watch that. That is a great episode. That is a great episode. It's called White Bear. It's on season 3. You don't have to watch them in order. They're individual stories that aren't related to each other. Somebody said that a couple of them tie into each other. I didn't notice that they did. So you can certainly watch them out of order. I believe it's in season 3. It's called White Bear. Check it out. It's worth watching. It's worth watching. That's why I quit the Walking Dead. When Negan showed up, he ruined the show and I walked. Yeah, I watched it. Well, you wouldn't know because you'd already walked. There was some group that was like this East German chick. There was like the leader of one of the groups. It was just like, it just turned into like, I don't like that guy. He looked at me funny, Honestly, after the governor's gone, it ain't worth a damn. The governor was awesome. That was an awesome character. Check it out. The girlfriend's always trying to get me to watch that show. Hopefully she hasn't seen White Bear and you can watch it together. That episode's really good, and there's another one. Wait for it. It's actually an episode that's in black and white. I know. I actually watched a black and white episode. It's called Metalhead. And that one's maybe season 3 or 4. That one's also very good. But watch White Bear, and I wish there was more programming like that one. And that's when I went in blind. But I've seen them all. Most of them are worth watching. Most of them are worth watching. They make you think. They don't necessarily make you figure things out. They just make you think. The governor was the best villain on that show, and when they tried to give his role to lesser villains, Negan just a punk. Yeah. I don't know if the governor was that much of a villain. He just misunderstood. I like David Morrissey, so that helps. You know. And I like whiskey. And he had whiskey. So. Pretty sure she's already seen it. Seen the 3D fighting game 1 in one of the first episodes. I don't remember the 3D fighting game 1. There's a couple of them that are just, White Bear, baby. Okay, I think we're good to go with this. So now what do? We go to the roof. The roofage. I'm going to cut this with this. This is some Precisage stuff. There's not a whole lot of series that are like, I gotta see them all kind of thing. I'm pretty particular about what I'm willing to give my time up for. Most shows are just poorly written if they're not good. It's not poorly acted. And I actually came across something the other day, and I forget what it was, but it was both. It was really, 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 really bad. Badly acted. And that's unusual. Usually that's not the problem. It's kind of like war game rules. Just throw them together because we want to sell the miniatures, you know? Anyone interested in the English Civil War? Not my people, so not really. It's more interesting than the American Civil War, but that's not saying a whole lot. You saw that they are bringing Night Court back. That was a great show back in the day. That was a great, funny show. With Melissa Rauch, okay, from The Big Bang Theory. I actually know who she is. She's the cutest one on the show, although that's not saying a whole lot, but she's all kinds of hot, but I don't know if I want to watch a modern TV show. I found, like movies, it's all SJW. Yeah, I'm not interested in SJW or anything. I'm set in my ways and I'm happy with who I am. And the more you tell me I can't say something, the more likely I am to say it. Especially when it comes to comedy. There's all these comedians now. All they talk about is these weird sexual perversion things because they're not allowed to talk about ethnic humor, which I love ethnic humor. I'm not making one race of people better than the other ones. It's funny to laugh about the generalities that we all have as, as cultures. Oh, you can't do that. People get upset. People need to get thicker skin, man. We all did it before, and we didn't have any riots and burning people's houses down and shit like that. Yeah, I never watched Big Bang. It's the nerd burglar show, as I called it. Okay, this is going to be this is going to test my mettle when it comes to folding. Shed? Nah, Shed's a different building. Leave it alone. Did we cut out the floor for this thing? We did. All right. Thing that gets me is the people who are offended are the ones who are not even the supposed target. That's right. They're the ones who don't know who their daddy is. Yeah. All right, let's bend this bastard first. Actually, I'm probably better off. Nah, it's too rounded. I don't need to bend it that much. It's just to get it started. There we go. There's some coughing. For no reason whatsoever. Oh, there's your corner. Nice. Okay. I didn't even watch a video on this. It just seemed like, well, this seems like the way to do it. As I like to say, I'm not stupid. I'm just an asshole. And that one doesn't fold. Got it. Perfect. Oh, this looks like a tiki hut looking thing. Night Court was a great show. The original one, that's a great show. But that's one of those that the film quality is really, really poor. And I don't know anyone that has watched that show that didn't love it. That was a great show. And so was Married with Children. That's some funny shit. That is a funny, funny show. I couldn't wait until it was, I think it was on Sunday night. I couldn't wait until Sunday night for that to come on. A funny show. Well, we're supposed to see, my brother wanted to go see him, and he's going to be in town next month. A show that we used to watch religiously every week when it was on, Mind of Mencia. He's going to be performing next month. I hope he still does his stuff. He supposedly got in trouble for stealing people's jokes. Hey, if other people don't know how to deliver their own jokes, I don't know what that controversy is within that, but I loved him because he had all the ethnic humor. And I hope he still does that. I hope he doesn't go back into his closet of, well, we can't do that anymore. Because that's what I want to see. That's what my happy ass wants to see. Oh, I wonder how this thing glued together. Does it stay glued? Yeah, it's durable enough. Maybe it just popped out. Maybe it was running in my mouth and it just popped out. Well, we're not going to use that nuclear glue because that's just like brutal working with. Watch what show? I'm talking about Night Court. Everybody liked Night Court. Talking about old shows. Went to New York. Went to go see a play, and one of the guys was in the play. Like, that guy looks awfully familiar. It's the cousin from Perfect Strangers, whatever his name is. Not Balky, the other guy. I'm like, that's got to be him. And intermission, I looked it up. Sure enough, it was him, whatever his name is. He's got a compound name. If somebody told you what his name is, you wouldn't know who he was. But it's like, it's the American guy from Perfect Strangers. Never seen Night Court. You like Cheers and Frasier. I didn't watch either one of those. I'm not a fan of the CBS shows. I don't know. I think both of those are CBS. Cheers certainly is. Never got into them. Never seen Night Court. Oh man, there's your homework assignment. I think it ran from like 84 to 90 or something like that. Sounds about right. And if I remember correctly, it was run late at night too. So it's supposed to be a court that takes place in the wee hours. And of course, it has nothing to do with. It has as much to do with a courtroom as Scrubs has to do with a hospital. Big Bang Theory is appropriation of nerd culture. Yeah, I never cared for it. But I'm in the minority. But back then you'd watch a show because main reason you watched a show because it was on. You didn't have the million choices like people do now. Why'd you watch it? It was on. You have those million choices. All right, let's see how this thing fits together. Okay. Do it like that. So we're going to test fit them before we decide to put any glue on them. Should save us a headache. You like me some Scrubs. Crap, now I have that TLC No Scrubs song stuck in my head. Ha! I know what you're talking about, but I don't listen to R&B stuff, so it doesn't stick in my head. Ha 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 ha. The funny thing about Scrubs was when they did the flashbacks, or when they go, what you're imagining in your head. That's the stuff that's freaking hilarious. The regular show's okay, and some episodes are better than others, but man, when they have those flashback things, that's what gets me going. Those are funny. But that is a really fast show. You got to watch out. I have to watch out with subtitles because some of the delivery is just way, 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 way too fast. Between Dr. Cox and Elliot, both of those are like, you got to be like on the ball. And unfortunately, I don't hear great. My whole life. So if you're a mumbler or you don't enunciate, I'm going to get lost what you're trying to get at. All right. This should be able to bend it there. Bend it there. I suspect that the slab on this will be the same as the other one. It'll be like, it should do this, but it doesn't do that. Right? I would think it would just drop right in here. And this one does. Why doesn't the other one drop in? This one fits exactly how it should. All together. Maybe I need to cut the other one down. Or just leave well enough alone. No. I know we're going to glue this in first. And this should be able to drop. So I'm not going to glue it down. So it would sit inside like that. Okay. And the outside. Well, I wish this stuff was stickier, but it's pretty darn forgiving. It's almost like you're putting wax on. I know, wax on, wax off. Yeah. Not a fan of those movies. I bet I've only seen the first one. It was against my wishes. And I like 80s movies. I saw them when they were new. See, I remember That's What She Said from the 80s, not from The Office. Apparently that's where everybody wanted to see it. Oh, that's what it's from. Like, I tried watching The Office. It wasn't funny. I didn't find it funny. Again, maybe I'm in the minority. My family didn't. My daughter actually liked it, but my wife and I didn't. We didn't care for it. So that's just one of those programs that you end up watching with your significant other. So it's good for both people to be on the same page. Okay, the front door is here. So this should slide just like that. So far, so good. And then the roofage. Yeah, I don't want to mess with that nuclear glue. This stuff is just forgiving enough for me. It said glue both sides for better grip. We're going to do that. I feel like this glue a lot. Good, because I got it. All right, put my glasses on so I see what the hell do I have here? It doesn't look bad. I don't know what the deal is with this. This is not the right size. We're going to leave it like this for now. So when you pull the front layer off, it reveals a battle damage layer. Or what's the purpose of the house having wall-to-wall layers? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, so you're like, oh, it's damaged. Okay. There you go. I don't know how they figure that it just happened to be damaged that certain way. But I think it just gives you two different houses options. There's nothing on the inside, so... You know, oh, really? We're going to start with that? All right. I consider these buildings free. I cut them so long ago. Either I do something with them or I'm just going to not do anything with them again. So we're going to let this thing dry by itself without having any pressure put on the corner. Oh. There we go. Okay. We have a shed here. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have bought these now, but I already had them, so. Oh, so we're going to fold here. All right, let's cut this across here. And this actually goes up a little bit. I feel like it's a Friday night, and it's certainly not. Not even close. Okay. Seems like you should just make that two buildings instead of just having one over the other. That's a sharp guy right there. Yep. Yes, it does, doesn't it? But I don't think I'm going to need that many buildings. I think there's like 5 or 6 or something like that. But yeah, because if you have a damaged building, okay, you have a damaged building, but you don't have a damaged building that got hit by a 75 millimeter HE, which is what happened in the middle of the game. It knocked out only the corner, you know? So it needs to just be kind of its starting condition. Okay, now using this as a guide, where am I folding? There. Okay. And then the other one was here. Okay. And then the other one was here. And then, of course, this one here. All right. Let's see what this looks like now. We got us a shed. Now, I don't know how the hell you're supposed to put the roof on it. Unless it just sits on top. This is a shed that I guess 2 people could climb in there. Okay, that one's done. Nice. How are we doing on time? Just after 9? Oh, we're good. What are you doing falling all over the place? Okay. Here's the one I started on. We're going to leave that one for last because there may be another one of these pieces that goes with it that I don't know where they fit on there exactly. And they got a lot of buildings. And this is just the northern hamlet set. They have a northern village set, and you have a southern village and a hamlet as well, including a church. I saw a 3D printed Orthodox church that somebody was selling, and it was way out of scale. It was like the footprint on it was like this, but then it was like freaking this tall. I'm like, that's just silly, you know. That's just silly to be that far out of scale. All right, I'm gonna take a little potty break, and then I'll be right back. So don't go anywhere. Okay. I guess this other building is a barn that we're going to be doing next. Okay. So we're going to check out and see in the morning how this glue works. If it doesn't work really well, we'll use the nuclear glue, but we'll put it on something and use it like a toothpick or something to apply it. because we need to be kind of, can't just start slopping it around somewhere. Okay. I don't think these buildings need to particularly be very durable. I don't see having to travel with them. Now, I do have some that are made of resin, but they're for Normandy and stuff. And they are extremely heavy. They're old school buildings. I believe they were made by a company that, the last time I checked they were in, they're probably not owned by the same place before. But they used to be called, a company called Queen's Hussars. And they're really, really heavy. And they're in the closet unpainted, so we'll work our way over to them at some point. Queen's Hussars, I believe is what they were called. Yeah, look at all these cuts. I wouldn't want that on my cutting sheet. I didn't even buy this blue thing. I got it for free, but I got to look at it. I don't want to have a bunch of cuts in it and shit like that. I distract easy. I've also not had things before, so I try to be really careful with what I do have, so I don't have to buy it again. I don't like purposefully do it. It's just kind of just habit. Like, I'm not one of those people that runs around with a cell phone without a case. Like, I don't know how you people sleep at night. Things are expensive, man. You gotta take care of them. If you had to choose what scale to do command decision, which would you go with? 6 mil. I've done it before. I don't know. I've never played Test of Battle. Is Test of Battle more detailed than 2nd edition? I liked 2nd edition. I just thought the infantry rules were just kind of vague. Like, you weren't like dying to like command an infantry battalion, you know, kind of thing. They're a little too generic. You really cut the crap out of your cutting mat? I thought that was his purpose. Care to share why you don't cut directly on my mat? Well, I'm afraid, honestly. I don't want it to, I don't know. I don't want to look at it and it's all destroyed. And I'm afraid of, if I'm trying to do a cut and there's already a cut right next to it, I could like go sideways. I don't know. Somebody's got, and there's a couple other cuts here that just, I've got so much of this cardboard and I use it. And they have a cutting mat that I saw that was really nice. They've got one that has like a Sherman tank, like schematic, and they got like tigers and stuff like that. I can't have something like that and like destroy it. I don't know. It's just my own pet peeve about, you know, moving out when I didn't have money to move out and I was poor. And I mean, that was many, many years ago, thankfully. But I try to take care of everything that I have and not be careless with it. That's just me. But mainly, I don't want to look at it like I've seen people's painting areas and there's paint slopped all over. I couldn't function that way. I just get distracted too easily by all that stuff. So I'll come in here and I've got this painting table that has a plastic protective thing for like an office, and on top of that is a cutting mat, and on top of that is a cardboard that I cut on top of. Yep, it's self healing. Can't speak for that. I've only played Test of Battle. 6 mil is actually more expensive. Well, I wouldn't do it for the cost. I like there's just some scales that just don't appeal to me. I would do it in 6 because that's what I'm used to. But I think the infantry and command decision is just too generic. It's just not very exciting, you know. So I prefer playing a game that's mostly infantry with a few vehicles. You wouldn't be able to tell all the vehicles that I'm painting, but they're not all going to be on there. I'm just doing them because, they're fun. That's one thing I really dislike about games like World of Tanks. It's all tanks and no infantry. My area looks like a bomb went off. I can't function there, you know. Tired of looking at my old one that got messed up when I spilled Tamaya cement. Yeah. Yeah, I probably should get a nice one that I don't cut on at all, and then just cut on this one. But it's hard, man. It's hard to get that out of your system. There's things that's ingrained in our psyche that's hard to get rid of. Like, I lived alone so many years. I find it really hard to go to a room and leave the light on. Like, I turn the light off when I'm not in the room. Like, I'm not trying to, just to be frugal. It's just like, why the hell is the light on? Who's over there? Nobody. Then why the hell is the light on? Just shit like that. When I go to lunch, I have an office that has a door you close. I turn my light off you know, to my office. Well, I mean, why is it on? I'm not there. Just stuff like that. You know, we all have our little idiosyncrasies and our own idiosyncrasies, and I love watches, but I would never buy an expensive watch because I couldn't stand like spending a couple $100s for a watch, and then I take care of things, but shit happens, and you clip something, and then you got a scratch on an expensive watch. So what I end up doing, like this is my work watch. I happen to like Swiss Army watches, and I happen to like this design, which they don't make anymore. It's just simple and classic. They don't make it anymore. I go on eBay and buy a used one that's got a scratch or two, and I don't fret about it because it's not like I'm not going to try to take care of it, but shit happens, unfortunately. You know. Your area looks like a BIM went off. Did you have a BIM? Le BIM. If those damn Germans had put those storage things on their tanks in France 1940, I could see doing France 1940 because the French are really interesting. I mean, their tanks are interesting, their infantry's interesting. They got some crazy vehicles, they got some crazy trucks with all kinds of mishmash sized tires and stuff. They're cool. There's no doubt about it. That's why I hate owning a car. You just watch the thing get beat up. Yeah, I mean, I go out of my way. I go out of my way to park like far away. I mean, like I don't mind taking extra. I'll park against a curb, Fuckers will find you and scratch you. The other day I was cleaning my car and I thought I had a bug on it. Nope, it was a rock that came off the road. You know, it just, you can't have anything nice, you know. And, a car's expensive. You want to take care of it, you know. I do the same thing when I rent a car. You know, I go and I don't want my car I'm driving in to get beat up, regardless of whether or not they charge me for it, just on principle. But no, you see people all the time. They don't give a shit about things. It's like, I've not had things before, and it sucks. But I want to take care of the things that I do have. Yeah, I'll see people have a nice car. I mean, a much more expensive car than I'm willing to ever buy, and they just park it all haphazardly, like crooked, and it's like, well, your mom's just gonna buy you another one, you know? Nah, I take care of things you have. Yeah, I park way out of the way. I had my first car like 11 years or something like that. Now we just lease. I don't know if I'm going to lease another one because there just aren't cars out there that I'm interested in leasing. I'm a stick shift, internal combustion engine kind of guy, and there just isn't a whole lot to choose from to begin with. So, and it's only getting worse and worse every year. All right, I'm gonna glue this booger in. Number 2 in France 40. Siege of Calais. A valiant rearguard action of the 30th Brigade. I used a car growing up that we nicknamed the Road Sperm. I'm never giving a nickname to a car. It never occurred to me to name a car. Like maybe if, I had guns on it or something like that, or, it was like in a demolition derby, absolutely, but just a regular car on the street? Never occurred to me. Yeah, you'd have to give it a name if you're in a demolition derby. Or if you wore some kind of an outfit while you drove it. Whatever that means. If you drive a car while wearing a cape, you gotta name it. What'd you call it? Road sperm? Road sperm. Hopefully it was white. Oh, you failed the test. Yeah, that's what my cough was like yesterday, except like every 15 seconds. And it was like maddening. I don't want to be online and put you guys through that. That's annoying as shit. There's nothing I can do about it. And it's even worse because it sounds like I'm dying and I'm just fine. This is the part I don't like cutting out, is the top of this thing. I'm just all over the place. Looks like it was printed on a laser jet. Probably was. Probably was. I gotta go and do blood work tomorrow. Which, of course, the least favorite part of it is the whole fasting thing. I gotta wake up and not have any coffee or anything, not eat anything. That's the whole reason of waking up. Is Walking Dead still on? Just got a notification, new season available. I'm like, thought they finished it. And then that Fear the Walking Dead's even worse. That was even worse. Like, the bigger moron you are, the more likely you are to survive. I hated that one episode. You said you watched it all the way through Negan. I hated that one episode where they went on a supply run, which is something I have a lot of experience doing in video games. Going on a supply run. The supply run is, if you have a vehicle, you're going to go grab another vehicle, you bring the one back that you brought out there. Nope. They went on a supply run to get that moving van or what have you, and they left their other vehicle there. And then they have their moving van stolen from them by Jesus because they left the keys in the... And I'm watching it with Mitch, and I'm thinking, there's no way that they left the keys in the ignition. Yep. And that's your two most experienced guys on that. Like, how'd you guys survive like 6 years? Being morons like that? Like, who writes this shit? Not very believable. If that's your two hardcore, most experienced guys that everybody looks up to, and they're making dumb rookie mistakes like that. You don't leave anything behind. You may need it. You may need it. Actually, you will need it. Just a matter of when. I mean, there's two of you. One drives each vehicle. What's wrong with you? If I remember correctly, season 1 was pretty good. And then it just went south after that. Yeah, no point in doing it now. Only zombie thing I can do are the old Resident Evil games. I got a Walking Dead game on the VR. Man, it'll startle the shit out. It's not. I wouldn't call it a scary game, but it's a cheating game. Like you'll show up one place where there's only one way in, right? So you're like, I'm like methodical about shit like that. Like keep it back, okay, clear this way because there's no way they can get there. Oh no, they'll just appear behind you like a bunch of cheaters. How many Resident Evil movies are there? Like 7? I'm down 3 of them. Yeah, only the first one's good so far. The other ones are just like, okay, well, I gotta see them because they're part of the thing, but not really. Speaking of games, I remember the weekend that I discovered Half-Life. It was a Sunday evening, and I wasn't married yet. I spent the entire. I ended up going to work on Monday morning and never went to sleep. That's how. That's how captivated I was by that game. The first Half-Life. What a great game. What a great game. Okay, 6 or 7 plus or minus. And there's a series, isn't there? Have you seen the series? I never played any of the video games, so. What's that new video game that came out a couple years ago that you end up going and one of the people that you have to fight, the boss you have to fight is like a woman that's like 30 or 40 foot tall. That seems kind of hokey. It's like set almost like in Transylvania or something like that. Maybe it's not a Resident Evil movie. There's a demo I was watching. I don't remember what it was called. I was watching the demo and I couldn't watch it anymore. I was scared shitless just watching the demo. I'm not even playing it, and I don't remember what the hell it was called. It was some demonic thing. You could hardly see it all. But I'm like, man, this is way too intense. There's no way I could play this. Fango Wolf. What rules am I playing with these? Well, if I get around to it, it's going to be the face of battle. It's Resident Evil in name only. Okay. I think the name of the video game was something like The Evil Within or something like that. Just something where you're even in like third person, like you can't see shit. You're not armed with anything. That makes a big difference. At least arm me with something. At least I can do something about it. Demo sounds like Resident 8 The Village. Yeah, that might be the one that has the that has the freaking really tall woman or something like that. Seems really. I think the Evil Within Us is the one that just like I couldn't watch. It was like I'm fucking scared, man. I'm just watching it. Yeah, I think the cover of it has something like a scene that would be like out of a Saw movie or something like that. Like, I don't need that kind of torture in my life, man. Problem with the zombie stuff is, man, I can't get the names of all those movies straight. The only one I really liked is the one that's in the shopping mall. Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, one of those. The one that's in the shopping mall, it's like from the early 90s or something like that, mid 90s, 94, 95, something like that. All right, we're going to lift this thing dry like so. Where's the other one? This is the inside of this. Okay. And the floor. Tell me it fits in there. That'd be nice. It looks like it does. Has potential of fitting in there. Okay, so it's just that one that has the floor that's oversized. I had half a mind to cut that thing down. Okay. 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 The roofage. How many buildings is that? Well, if we don't count the shed, this is the third one. Okay. Well, that's going to leave us some stuff for another night. Because I need to cut out after this one. Because I need to get to bed and get up early. It's funny because I thought I was going to go to bed really, really early. And you guys kept me interested. This has gone really well. So we've been able to be productive. Okay, Hoffman, check out that. Check out White Bear. White Bear from whatever the hell it's called, Black Mirror. Okay. You know, these aren't bad for what they are. Like I said, I had them. We'll see what they look like on the game table. Might be a better judge of what that actually looks like if you see them out there with the on the terrain mat. Okay, let's see what we got here. Here's the barn, which really has that floor. We'll cut it down a little bit so it fits in there a little better. Well, let's go ahead and do that now. Let's go ahead and the touch. Okay, and that fits in here. There you go. So we got this one done. We got this one done. I thought I got more done. I guess it just takes a while. And that one done. You hate having the munchies. Nothing ever satisfies you. Yep, welcome to my world. I can always eat. There it is. So I think they look acceptable. We'll have to see over the weekend. We can take a proper picture of them on one of those terrain mats. Make it look like, you know, something's really going on there. So, anyhow, we're going to cut this one off. Thanks for stopping by. We've got one here. We have two here. And the one I started on. So another session like this, we'll get them all done. Seems like I'm enjoying myself far more with World War II than I ever did with DVA. Well, not necessarily. I can do whatever I want. I don't have to put up with the rules don't make any sense. Well, fuck it, change them, you know? I'm a World War II guy to begin with. I do enjoy reading about all medieval stuff I didn't have any clue about. But yeah, this is my world. I like the World War II stuff. Because crazy stuff's going to happen in these games. You know, you're going to throw a grenade one place and it goes somewhere else. And then the chaos ensues. And that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see is those movie moments. So that's what I want to see. You know, things don't go according to plan. So, but yeah, I won't be painting 15s anytime soon. We're going to be doing this. Just wait till we do some figures. And some riflemen and shit like that. Commissars. So, yeah, and since I'm not on a schedule, I can, you know, I can just do whatever I freaking want. So, anyhow, it's nice to get some of these done. I mean, they're kind of fragile, but I think they'll look okay. We'll see when they got pictures of them. Anyways, thanks for stopping by, folks, and we'll see you guys next time. See ya.